In this lesson, we are going to cover the first part of area and volume ratios. So to review a little bit, remember that scale factor, okay, in a dilation, it's the ratio of the length of a side on the image to the length of its corresponding side on the pre-image. Okay, so for example, this is a pre-image, right? It's my original, and it was reduced by a scale factor of 1/2. Okay, remember, a scale factor of less than 1 makes the shape smaller. A scale factor greater than 1 makes the shape bigger. Okay, also a little review. Remember that if you are given a scale factor, okay, and an area, then we can find the new area if all of the lengths or all of the lengths and the widths or the heights or whatever it is, whatever shape you're given, if all of the dimensions of that shape are changed by the same scale factor, then you don't even have to know what the lengths of the sides are in order to find the new area. Okay, so like say we have this one right here. We have this new shape, right? It got bigger. Okay, here's the original shape. If we were to take the original area and multiply it times the scale factor squared, it would give us the area of the new scale factor. Okay, so all we've done is just change this formula up a little bit. Instead of saying A new and A original, we've just changed it to A2 and A1. Okay, and that's easy to remember because just think of 1 as what you start out with, right? 1 is first, it's the first shape. 2 is second, it's the second shape. And then instead of multiplier, right, the multiplier is our scale factor, and we're going to use T as that, okay? So T is going to stand for the scale factor, and it has to be squared, all right? So what we did here is we just divided by A1 on both sides in order to get A2 divided by A1 equals T squared, okay? So we have the new area divided by the original area, and it will give you the scale factor squared. So we want to find the scale factor between these two similar figures. Okay, so what we want to do is, let's say that the smaller triangle is our original. Okay, so this is going to be our A1. And then the bigger triangle is going to be our new one. So that's going to be A2. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to take 67.5 and we're going to divide it by 30. And that is going to equal our scale factor squared. So in order to find the scale factor, first, let's take this fraction and let's just take 67.5 and divide that by 30. And that's going to give us 2.25 equals T squared. Now, remember, the opposite of squared is square root. So we want to square root 2.25, and that's going to give us 1.5. Okay, so the scale factor used to go from this area to that area is 1.5. And that makes sense, right? Because it's greater than 1. And a scale factor greater than 1 is going to give you a bigger shape. All right. And you can also check your work here, right? Because we know that if we take the scale factor squared, 1.5 squared, excuse me, this should equal the new area. This should equal 67.5. So if I take 1.5 and I square it, right, that's 2.25. So now I'm going to take that times 30, and it does give me 67.5. So I know that that's right. I know my scale factor then is 1.5. Okay, here it says triangle HIJ is similar to XYZ. If the scale factor is 3 and the area of triangle XYZ, this one right here, is 54 centimeters, what is the area of triangle HIJ? Okay, so here it's important to figure out which one is A2 and which one is A1. It says that the scale factor is 3. Okay, if the scale factor is 3, that means the shape is going to get bigger. That means our original is the smaller shape. So that means this one is A1 and this one is A2. All right, so I'm going to use this formula down here. I know that A2 is 54, so I have 54, and I'm going to use x instead of A1. So I'll say 54 over x equals t squared. So t is our scale factor, that's 3, and then we're going to square it. Okay, that's a really important part. So now I have 54 over x, 3 squared is 9, right? Now I have to get rid of this x on the bottom, so that means I'm going to multiply the 9 and the x together, so that's going to give me 9x equals 54, and then I'm going to divide by 9 on both sides, and that's going to give me 6. So I know that A1, okay, my original shape is 6. All right, and I can check my work here, right? Because my area, the new area, should equal the old area times the scale factor squared, right? 3 times 3 is 9, and 6 times 9 is 54. So I know that that's correct. Here it says, find the area of rectangle VWXY if the area of angle RSTU is 28 square kilometers and the scale factor is 3 over 2. Okay, so it tells us already here, right, that A1 is 28. Okay, so what we are trying to find is A2. Okay, so we have A2, and I'm actually going to call that X, over A1, which is 28. And it's going to equal our scale factor of 3 over 2 squared. All right. Now remember, when we're squaring a fraction, you have to square both of the numbers, the 3 and the 2. So this can be x over 28. 3 times 3 is 9. 2 times 2 is 4. Now we're just going to cross multiply. 4 times x is 4x. And then 28 times 4 is 112. Divide that by 4. And that's going to give you x equals 28. And if we looked up here, remember x was A2, right? So A2, the area here is well, and it says the area is 28, which that's not correct. So let's go back here and look. I think I made a mistake here on when we cross multiply, right? 28 times 9 is actually 252. Right? Not 112. So this should actually be 252 equals 4x, right? So that's why it's always really important to go back and think about your answer and check your work, right? Because this should actually be x equals 63. So my new area should be 63, okay? And if you think about it, that should make sense because my new area should equal my original area times the scale factor squared, right? 3 over 2 squared. So 63 needs to equal 28 times 9 over 4, right? 28 times 9 is 252, divided by 4 is 63. So that is correct. So my new area should actually equal 63. Here, I want to find the scale factor, all right? So A2 over A1 equals t squared. So they give us our A2 and our A1. So we're going to take 120, divide that by 187.5, and that's going to give us t squared. So let's take 122, divide it by 187.5, and that gives us 0.64. That equals t squared. Square root both sides. So we want to take the square root of 0.64, which is going to be 0.8. So our scale factor is 0.8. And again, you check it, right? 120, your new area, should equal the old area times your scale factor squared. Okay, so 120 should equal 187.5 times 0.64. And it does. 120 equals 120. So I know that that's correct. And that is the end of area and volume ratios, part 1.